Teddy Pendergrass, he's the kind of artist that had it all. He had everything going for him.
He apparently lost control of his car and slammed into 2 trees early this morning.
First, the car started speeding up really fast. And I was wondering, was he driving fast? But he wasn't. It was out of control. And I noticed he was struggling with the wheel. And all of a sudden, I heard this great big bang.
I had been so secluded for month after month and wouldn't go anywhere, afraid to let people see me in the wheelchair. My wife just said, okay, that's it.
R&B singer Teddy Pendergrass has died at the age of 59.
When I really look back over the last 25 years, I can only say that life is life. Things happen. You know the expression, stuff happens.
Sure.
But when you can come out of those things and you can experience the better things, it kind of makes the bad things better because you don't focus on the bad things. I have too many good things to focus on.
This incredible vocalist was one of the top singers of his day, a Philadelphia soul legend whose gruff baritone voice was equally suited to fast beats and sometimes literally commanding ballads. Installed as Harold Melvin in the Blue Notes drummer in 1970, this musician quickly rose to prominence with the group, leading it to 9 top 10 R&B songs. This musician eventually left the Blue Notes but stayed with Philadelphia International Records, whose founders, Gamble and Huff, an extended family of producers, songwriters, and musicians provided him with enough alternately tough and tender material to fill 5 consecutive platinum studio albums. The centerpiece of today's video is all about Teddy Pendergrass. Now before we start, let's be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and push that notification bell to be sure you won't miss out on any more content. Now, without further ado, let's cue that intro. Born Theodore Darius Pendergrass in King Street, South Carolina, he was the only child of Jesse and Ida Geraldine Pendergrass. Ida had 6 miscarriages before finally giving birth to Teddy. When Pendergrass was very young, his father abandoned the family. As he grew older, his mother pledged to find his father so they could meet. She kept her promise and Teddy met his father when he was 11 years old. Not long after, Jesse was unalived due to a stabbing on June 13, 1962, during an altercation with another man. Pendergrass grew up in the impoverished section of North Philadelphia and often sang at church.
What keeps you spiritually grounded?
It's very simple for me. It's from birth. I was born to a very, very religious mother who kept me in church. I used to go to church 6 days a week. Spirituality is just a part of who I am, irregardless of the songs I sing, irregardless of all of the other fluff and stuff.
He dreamed of being a pastor and allegedly got his wish when, at age 10, he became an ordained minister according to author Robert Ewell Green. Pendergrass also took up drums during this time and was a junior deacon of his church. While attending public school, he sang in the citywide McIntyre Elementary School Choir and in the All-City Stetson Junior High School Choir. He attended Thomas Edison High School for boys in North Philadelphia. He sang with the Edison Master Singers. By his late teens, he became the drummer for the Cadillacs. While in the 11th grade, Pendergrass dropped out of high school to enter the music business, recording his first song, Angel with Muddy Feet. This song, however, was not a commercial success. In 1970, he joined Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes as the group's drummer and became lead singer later that year after the departure of John Atkins.
That's a story. That's a story. One night on the stage at a club here in Philadelphia, I was playing for the Cadillacs. In comes a guy named Harold Melvin. Nobody knew who he was. And he said that he was one of the original members of the Blue Notes. So I vaguely remembered the name Blue Notes from the 50s, a singing group from the 50s, doo-wop group. So it wasn't that important to me. So as it turned out, he wanted to hire the singers that were the Cadillacs, call themselves the Cadillacs, to become the members or the new members of the Blue Notes, which had just recently dispersed, and he was reforming the group. So they agreed, and they wanted to become the Blue Notes because he was working steady, and he had the connections to keep steady job and paychecks coming. I was the only musician that went along. We got together a whole new band. So the group was in a new formation. I went along as a drummer, so I became the drummer. But just then, at that time, it was just the Blue Notes. And it changed later on in life.
Subsequently signed to Gamble and Huff's Philadelphia International Records, the Blue Notes, powered by the voice of their new addition, went on a tear. I Miss You started it by reaching number 7 on Billboard's R&B chart, and it continued with the number 1 R&B and top 10 pop hits. If You Don't Know Me By Now, and The Love I Lost, and additional Philly soul classics such as Bad Luck and Wake Up Everybody. Also major album artists during this fertile 1972 to 1976 period. Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes hit the R&B albums top 10 with I Miss You and Black and Blue, and topped the chart with the respective gold and platinum sellers To Be True and Wake Up Everybody. By 1975, Pendergrass and Harold Melvin were at odds, mainly over financial issues and personality conflicts. Despite the fact that Pendergrass sang most of the group's songs, Melvin was controlling the group's finances.
By 1976, Teddy had had enough. He decided to run a test on Harold.
He knew they were making money, and he would pay them peanuts. So he said one day he went to the house, and he said, hey man, I need some money. And then Harold said, yo, T, we don't have no money, man, we're broke, but let me see what I can do. He went back to his bedroom, and then my dad followed him. He looked through the keyhole, picked up the mattress, and he said it was stacks of money there. And he said he took $100 bill off of one of the stacks, and he came out, and he was like, man, hey, this is what I can do. He said he gave him $100. And my dad walked out the door that day. He said, I'm going on my own.
At one point, Pendergrass wanted the group to be renamed Teddy Pendergrass and the Blue Notes because fans kept mistaking him for Melvin. Despite the revised billing of the group, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes featuring Theodore Pendergrass, tension continued to grow between Melvin and Pendergrass, which led to Pendergrass leaving the Blue Notes in 1976. Although the group remained hot into the next year with the late success of Don't Leave Me This Way. When it came to planning his solo career, Pendergrass did not worry about making a move while the iron was hot and instead took his time. He signed a solo deal with Philadelphia International, and in 1977, Pendergrass released his self-titled album, which went platinum thanks to the disco smash I Don't Love You Anymore. Its follow-up single, The Whole Town's Laughing at Me, became a top 20 R&B hit. Although not released as singles, the up-tempo album tracks You Can't Hide From Yourself and The More I Get, The More I Want, as well as the ballad If I Had were also hits. The debut album was quickly followed by Life Is a Song Worth Singing in 1978. That album was even more successful with its singles. Only You and the classic Million, selling #1 R&B hit, closed the door. The latter song firmly established Pendergrass as the top male sex symbol in soul music.
The secret to Teddy's success is his not-so-subtle use of sex to sell his songs and turn on his audience. Your music is real sexy. Do you think of yourself as a sex symbol?
No. I mean, what is a sex symbol? What does it look like? I think that I have a strong masculine image. I have to believe in a strong masculine image. It's the only way I know. And it's not just something I'm trying to sell. Well, at this point it's commercial, but that's just the way I am. And it's worked. I did not have to change what I believe in to make what I enjoy doing work for me.
The disco hit, Get Up, Get Down, Get Funky, Get Loose, the ballad It Don't Hurt Now, and the mid-tempo classic When Somebody Loves You Back all contributed to the album's popularity. That double platinum #1 R&B win was followed by 2 successes in 1979. The album Teddy, which remained at #1 on the Billboard R&B chart for 8 weeks and was designated the second biggest R&B album of the year, and the live release Live Coast to Coast. It's Off, Teddy included the classics Come Go With Me, the erotic ballad Turn Off the Lights, and the up-tempo album Cut Do Me. With his sex appeal at an all-time high after his 1979 tour, Pendergrass took a more mellow approach on his 1980 album TP. It included the classic #2 R&B hit, Love TKO, the Stephanie Mills dual version of Feel the Fire in the Ashford and Simpson composition, Is It Still Good to You, between 1977 and 1981. Pendergrass landed 5 consecutive platinum albums, which was a then record-setting number for a rhythm and blues artist. Pendergrass's popularity skyrocketed near the end of 1978, with sold-out audiences at his shows. His manager, the famed Shep Gordon, who was known for his innovative techniques to advertising his acts, soon realized that a large portion of his fan base was made up of women of all colors. Gordon designed a strategy for Pendergrass's next tour to play primarily to female audiences, kicking off a trend known as women-only concerts that continues today. With 4 platinum records and 2 gold albums, Pendergrass was on his way to becoming known as the Black Elvis by the media, not only because of his crossover appeal, but also because he purchased a mansion similar to Elvis' Graceland just outside of Philadelphia. By early 1982, Pendergrass was perhaps the most popular R&B male artist of his era, rivaling Marvin Gaye and outperforming Barry White and all other R&B artists. In 1980, the Isley Brothers released Don't Say Goodnight, It's Time for Love to compete with Pendergrass's Turn Off the Lights, which sensed Pendergrass's influence on the Quiet Storm format of black music. On March 18, 1982, in the East Falls section of Philadelphia on Lincoln Drive near Rittenhouse Street, Pendergrass was involved in a car crash while driving his new Rolls-Royce Silver Spirit. At the time of the accident, the singer's license had been suspended for unpaid parking tickets. He had also wrecked a Maserati the previous week. Rumors that alcohol was a factor were later discounted by the police. Pendergrass was reportedly driving Tanika Watson, a transgender nightclub performer whom he had known since the 1970s, to her house. Pendergrass would only say that Watson was a casual acquaintance. It appeared to Watson that the cause of the crash was a mechanical error in the car, and that possibly someone had tampered with the brakes. The car hit a guardrail, crossed onto the oncoming lane, and hit 2 trees. No other cars were involved. The impact jammed the doors, trapping them for almost an hour until both were freed. While Watson walked away from the collision with minor injuries, Pendergrass had a spinal cord injury, leaving him tetraplegic, paralyzed from the chest down. He never walked again.
He apparently lost control of his car and slammed into 2 trees early this morning.
I was in school, I was in 1st grade, and they came and got me out of school and said your dad was in an accident.
Singer Teddy Pendergrass is in critical condition right now.
When I got there, he looked over at me, he said, Hank, he said, I really screwed up this time.
I said, what the hell does this mean? Because I'm here and cannot move.
Singer Teddy Pendergrass is in critical condition right now in a Philadelphia hospital. Doctors say the 31-year-old performer has severe injuries to his spinal cord.
At the time of your accident, you literally seem to have it all. How did you cope with the drastic changes it caused in your life, both from a career standpoint and from a personal standpoint?
That's a sensitive question. How did I cope? I didn't really cope. It's very difficult, extremely difficult. I've never in my life
experienced anything that could ever prepare me or help me. Well, I won't say help me, prepare me, give me any idea of what anything would be like after something so devastating has happened. I want people to realize, get a total understanding of this. It's the worst, absolute worst thing that could happen to an individual from all the perspectives that you mentioned, emotionally, career-wise. I was just numb. Big question mark.
There is a special guy who in the book is very important to Ted. And maybe before we introduce him, because he's here, we should talk about him.
He just made a trip to Philadelphia just to give me his love and his well wishes. And it showed me that I had a life in the wheelchair because he was in a wheelchair. I had been so secluded for month after month and wouldn't go anywhere, afraid to let people see me in the wheelchair. My wife just said, okay, that's it. Her and my nurse picked me up, put me in a rental van, and we drove to Dayton, Ohio. And when I woke up from the van, I was at this gentleman's house. I didn't know where I was going. She said, you're leaving this house. You're not staying back here behind these gates. You're going out. And they just took me to Dayton, Ohio.
To see Johnny Wilder.
To see Johnny Wilder.
So that Johnny could talk to you as one who understands and one
who understands can get me beyond the point that I was at.
Right. Remember,
graciously.
Yeah, there's songs like The Groove Line and Always and Forever and Boogie Nights. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Johnny Wilder.
My brother, how are you? How you doing?
Why is he the most upbeat, optimistic, just positive person?
To me, he's just an amazing individual.
Because you can do things he can't.
Yeah, and he can do things I can't. And I think that's wonderful because he gives me something to strive for. He lets me know life is not dull and down in the dumps all the time. He gave me the first vision that there's happiness. There's a light in the end of the tunnel. I didn't realize and didn't understand it until I saw his face.
Yeah. So give us the secret.
He's a wonderful guy. He's a wonderful guy.
Give us the secret, Johnny.
I'm still trying to figure it out. Just to share with him that I kind of know what you're going through, and I'll be here for you. I'll be here for you.
Pendergrass got well wishes from thousands of his fans during his recovery. In August 1982, Philadelphia International released This One's For You, which failed to chart successfully, as did 1983's Heaven Only Knows. Both albums included material Pendergrass had recorded before the crash. The albums completed his contract with Philadelphia International. By the time Pendergrass decided to return to the studio to work on new music, he had struggled to find a recording deal, eventually signing a contract with Asylum Records and completing physical therapy. He released Love Language in 1984. The album included the pop ballad Hold Me, featuring a then unknown Whitney Houston. On July 13, 1985, Pendergrass made an emotional return to the stage at the historic Live Aid concert in Philadelphia in front of a live audience of over 100,000. The concert having an estimated 1.5 billion television viewers. It was the singer's first live performance following the accident. Pendergrass tearfully thanked the audience for keeping him in their well wishes and then performed the Diana Ross song Reach Out and Touch Somebody's Hand. In 1988, Pendergrass scored his first R&B #1 hit in nearly a decade when the song Joy from his album of the same name was released. The video of the song enjoyed heavy rotation on BET. It was also his final Hot 100 charted single, peaking at number 77. The album was certified gold by the RAA that same year. Also, Pendergrass's voice was heard on the jingles of a then local Philadelphia radio station, WSNI-FM. Pendergrass kept recording through the 1990s. One of the singer's last hits was the New Jack Swing song, Believe in Love, released in 1994. In 1996, he starred alongside Stephanie Mills in the touring production of the gospel musical Your Arms Too Short to Box with God. In 1998, Pendergrass released his autobiography titled Truly Blessed. Pendergrass did a concert at the Wiltern Theater in Los Angeles on February 14, 2002, titled The Power of Love. The concert became the album from Teddy, With Love, which was released on the Razor and Tie Record label later that year. It was his second After Live, Coast to Coast and final live album. In his later years, Pendergrass's Wake Up Everybody has been covered by a diverse range of acts from Simply Red to Patti LaBelle, and was chosen as a rallying cry during the 2004 presidential campaign by Kenneth Babyface Edmonds to mobilize voters. In addition, Little Brother, Kanye West, Cameron, Twista, Ghostface, Tyrese Gibson, Ninth Wonder, DMX, and DJ Green Lantern have utilized his works. In 2006, Pendergrass announced his retirement from the music business. In 2007, he briefly returned to performing to participate in Teddy 25, A Celebration of Life, Hope and Possibilities, a 25th anniversary award ceremony that marks Pendergrass's crash, but also raised money for his charity, the Teddy Pendergrass Alliance, and honored those who helped Pendergrass since the accident. Pendergrass's manager and alleged girlfriend Tasmaya Lang was unalived on the doorstep of her home in April 1977. The case remains unsolved, although Philadelphia's Black Mafia has been suspected, as they allegedly resented Lang's control over Pendergrass's lucrative career. In June 1987, Pendergrass married a former Philadelphia dancer named Karen Steele, who had also danced in his shows. The couple divorced in 2002. Pendergrass also had 3 children, Tisha, LaDonna, and Theodore Jr. In the spring of 2006, Pendergrass met Joan Williams. He proposed to her after 4 months of dating. The couple married in a private ceremony on Easter Sunday, March 23, 2008. On June 5, 2009, Pendergrass underwent successful surgery for colon cancer and returned home to recover. A few weeks later, he returned to the hospital with respiratory issues. After 7 months, he sadly passed away of respiratory failure on January 13, 2010, with his wife Joan by his side. He was only 59. As of 2015, there are plans to make a feature film biopic of Pendergrass's life, and Tyrese Gibson is set to star as the late singer. In 2019, Essence magazine reported that Gibson reached out to Lee Daniels to produce the film. In 2019, BBC Film made a documentary on Pendergrass's life titled If You Don't Know Me. It was released February 8th on Showtime. Pendergrass received several nominations for the American Music Awards between 1979 and 1981 for Favorite Soul and R&B Male Artist, Favorite Soul and R&B Album, and Favorite Disco Artist. He won the AMA for Favorite Soul and R&B Male Artist in 1979, tied with singer Lou Rawls. Pendergrass was posthumously inducted into the National Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame class of 2021. In 2023, Rolling Stone ranked Pendergrass at number 42 on their list of the 200 greatest singers of all time. Now, before we go, I have a few questions for you all. Do you think Teddy deserves a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction? Also, what is your favorite song from Teddy Pendergrass?